Today, Precarious plays
Transistor.
Chin stroking time.
And that's probably worth including. Just had the thought that Transistor doesn't seem to be aware of what Red is planning during turn.
Yeah.
So that must be her ability unrelated to the Transistor.
Yeah. Now, last episode we were talking about Pokemon because it's on the brain.
Yeah, and it's creating a situation where, like, that's just what I'm thinking about right now.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, the thing that we had last talked about was how you wouldn't mind a reboot that reduces the amount of Pokemon, but also makes a tighter group of Pokemon to where every evolution of the Pokemon is useful and it's not just base stat increases, but there are trade-offs and it's interesting mechanically, etc., etc. But the newest Pokemon did get rid of a bunch.
You deduced that must be that must be not at all what they did.
Yeah.
Whenever they just cut half the cast.
Half? They really cut like half Pokemon?
I don't know if I don't know. I don't know if that's people being hyperbolic, but I have seen that bandied about online. People are like, they cut like half the Pokemon.
Do we have like, isn't it like 700? Are we up in 700 Pokemon now?
I think it's over 800.
Over 800?
Yeah.
So then it's down to what, 400 or so? If that's true?
If that's true, yeah.
I'm gonna have to check that because that's a lot of cuts to make. Like, why did they? Do you know if there was? This seems sassy to phrase it this way, but do you know if there was any thought process behind that, or did they just randomize the shit?
They gave some reasons, which possibly ring a little hollow. Lots of different reasons, which is part of the problem. I think that it's whenever you're a huge media company with a huge property, if it was just like a small plucky team.
You know those white walls been popping up?
Tell me about them.
I kind of miss those.
Weird.
Okay.
If it was a small plucky team of developers, I might be able to take it a little more seriously. But having lots of different reasons, I get that. I understand that if it's just like a few people. But whenever you're this huge, massive company, it feels a little just like intentionally distracting.
Yeah, it seems like a lack of a communication strategy or perhaps an intentional misdirection.
Yeah. So I've heard like, well, you know, it's a lot to develop. And my thought is, okay, but no, because a few years ago, you guys made a big deal about how proud you were of the company you were working with, future-proofing the models, so you'd be able to keep this up moving forward. And then you have one of the developers was like, it's for balance reasons. We're doing balancing. And then you think like, okay, now you got the inventors of Mega Evolution and specifically Mega Rayquaza and Mega Mawile are suddenly worried about balancing, and your solution is to cut half the cast, cut half the roster. Interesting.
Well, but did the cut actually balance anything?
I don't know. I don't follow competitive battling because as I've gotten older. So this is coming from someone that has played a ton of Pokemon, has played a ton of competitive Pokemon, has competed in local, and I don't want to give people like an inflated sense of what I participated in, but I
Yeah.
can't think of any other word to describe it other than like regional
Yeah.
tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
I did all of that. I have dozens, maybe, I mean, it's a much faster experience, so I'm just going to keep it at dozens. I have dozens of hours logged, and it's something else now. I think it's been overtaken by a different program.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was NetBattle
Uh-huh.
was what it was called in Gen 3. But I've played a lot of... I did enough competitive battling that I had to turn to internet battling before the Pokemon titles could just be played on the internet.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Competitive battling is the antithesis of what Pokemon should be. It's gross and it's bad, and it is the worst. The bad things that scared people say about Pokemon,
Mm-hmm.
it's true in competitive battling. It strips all of the heart and the character out of the series and turns it into a dogfighting simulator.
Yeah.
It's gross and it's bad, and this is the reason why I could never actually develop a Pokemon game, a Pokemon adjacent game.
Mm-hmm.
This is why Nintendo and Game Freak should not take any of my advice, because I
You'd
would
be like, get rid of that.
get rid of the no more competitive battling. Make it really hard and unsatisfying for people to fight one another in PvP. And it would probably tank the series for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So
like part of my advice would be like, introduce a mechanic like tripping, like you guys did in Brawl, to make people good and angry. Master turn recovery. It's not bad.
So it ruffled your feathers when they got rid of one of your favorites, but you were willing to like deal with that because, you know, whenever they cut stuff, especially if you're dealing with a list of 800 things that are possibly your favorite thing, it's like it's something that you like is going to get lost, right? I mean, chances are good. So what made you like, what was the final nail in the coffin? Why aren't you gonna play it?
The DLC.
The DLC?
Oh yeah, I don't
What
probably.
is DLC for Pokemon?
I probably should have led with that. It's a big expansion pass that adds 2 rounds of DLC, one of which is not out for a little while yet, that increase the roster. That's why, like, my point about Lopunny not being in the game is moot at this point, because I think that they were added in the first round. But it still doesn't add Mega Lopunny.
Uh-huh.
Everybody's packing it up for the country.
Wow.
Oh gosh, okay.
Listen, Twitter, that's a high-powered vote that you're giving me, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Tried relocation preferences. Yeah, more results. Neat. Great.
Okay, so the OVC terminals...
Oh, we'll notify our local administrator. Good.
Isn't she dead? I mean, well, the former administrator is dead.
Yeah, I'm not sure who is. I think that there's a little lady that shows up in the bottom left-hand corner some of the time. I wonder if she's supposed to be the administrator.
Mm-hmm. Well,
she might be like the head administrator. There's probably no way to know who the local administrator would be.
okay, but hold up a minute.
Holding up.
What the hell is DLC doing in a Pokemon game?
I didn't mind it when I first heard it because it's better than I think what they were doing before, which was waiting 6 months to a year and then saying like, well, here's Pokemon Platinum, and now you can buy the game again, and it's effectively DLC.
Okay.
You know, but you have to play the game from the beginning, and you have to start with a new team.
Okay. I generally don't like DLC as it is currently because it used to be like occasionally a development team would get a little more time to put a little more stuff in the game, and then you'd get like this neat little present. But now it's like built into like the rollout, and it's like, could you just give us the whole game, please? Anyways, that's my own.
Yeah, I feel like what developers are using it for, it is to increase the rate at which games can be developed from their perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do feel like it's being misused.
Yeah, and then like, well,
What's better than one dog? Two dogs.
That's right. Eat the paparazzos. Anyways.
It's really funny when you say it like that.
What? Eat the paparazzos?
Yeah, it's like...
It's very much like pepperoni. I mean, I'm sure they taste similar.
I want to let me turn this.
That's weird.
It's fine. So, what is it? It adds a new little bit of story, I think. Or some new scenarios, some new Pokemon, a new legendary Pokemon, I think. Increases the Pokedex a little bit. I think that the big problem is that having watched most of the base game doesn't feel complete. You know how, like, we've talked about Wind Waker before?
Yeah. Yeah!
And Wind Waker, it's polished, but it doesn't feel complete either. Like, the dungeon count is really low and the ocean is kind of barren.
It looks like there were plans for a lot more game.
Right. Pokemon Sword and Shield gives me a similar vibe, but it doesn't have, like, the same level of polish relative to what's happening around it. And they're like, but if you want to have it filled in by another 10 or 15%, give us $30 more. The price is outrageous.
Yeah.
It's $60 for the base game. And then right now, I think for the expansion pass, it's another $30. And even taken together, it still does not feel like a complete Pokemon game.
And this is supposedly for a game filled with models that were future-proofed in previous series?
Yeah, they were supposed to have future-proofed models from, like, the 3DS era, so they could keep porting them forward. Maybe something broke going from 3DS to Switch. But people are quick to point out that with Pokemon Let's Go, Eevee, and Pikachu, they should have had at least the original 151 to pull from.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I feel like the modeling is not as much of an issue as, like, animation and rigging. And there are far fewer Pokemon when viewed from that lens. I mean, I know that you have, like, you've got your weird outliers and junk, but I mean, like, an Onix and a Steelix and maybe even, like, a Melodic, for example, like, or a Gyarados as well. Like, you got, like, your long snakes, and you've got your weird floaty balls, like your cast forms, and your soul rocks and your Lunatones.
Yeah.
I feel like some of it might just come down to inefficiencies in how they're being developed. I don't know.
The whole thing makes me suspicious as you're describing it currently.
And I'm trying to describe it fairly. I swear I am.
Yeah. Well, you know, they're going to continue to make Pokemon. And hey, maybe this will be the time after this one that has just come out. Maybe this will be the time that they do the thing where they, like, reevaluate the roster and, like, change how the stats work.
Well, I don't know if... I think that they've done much worse than older Pokemon games.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that sales were down like 30% or something in the first few days at least, which counts for a lot in game dev.
Yeah.
Yeah, sales were down like 30% from Sun and Moon or Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. I can't remember which. Oof,
What was
oh God.
that?
I wish
Yes.
I was still with you.
You're right here, buddy.
Oh.
There.
Oh. Out there.
Oh, that makes more sense.
Is he, like, you told me not to worry about our transistor bud, but I'm worrying anyways. I'm like, are you okay? You're not okay. What the heck is wrong with you?
We need to get him a sheath so he can take a nap. So our drunk sword can go home.
Oh my god, I hope that's real.